Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Dearborn News. I'm Nick Wisniewski, and I'm so fortunate to be joined by a Dearborn mainstay. George Draney has been a city council member. He is a 3-time state representative and currently our city clerk. George, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
So I guess the first question is, we're going to be talking about the election, in case you've seen this thing behind us.
Yes.
Tell us what your job as city clerk entails with the election.
Well, the most important part of my job is to making sure that every person that wants to receive a ballot receives that ballot. So whether it be voting absentee or coming to the precinct and voting on the day of the election, every person that wants a ballot should receive a ballot. That's my number one goal. And of course, as far as the absentee ballots are concerned, everybody that wants to have a ballot and gets a ballot, with that ballot is counted, of course, when they return it.
So you've already touched on the absentee ballots. Who is qualified to get an absentee ballot now, because things have changed, and how do they get one?
Well, yeah, the law changed in 2018 to make it so there's no reason not to get one. There used to be numerous reasons that you had to follow in order to get a ballot, like you had to be over 60 or incarcerated, those types of things. That was the only way you could get an absentee ballot, but now it's open to anybody. And you can go just to our city website, cityofdearborn.org, and that way it's on the front page, and you just click on it, and the ballot will be right there. Fill it out, download it, sign it, and email it to me, mail it to me, and then we will be sending you the ballot.
Do you recommend mailing it? Do you recommend coming and dropping it off? How would either of those work?
So yes, voters can return their ballots by mail, but we have 3 drop-off locations also. The one in the parking lot at the DAC, that's a 24/7 drop box, so you can come anytime, any day, and put your ballot in there. Or we have a couple new drop-off stations. One of them is at Hubbard Manor East, and the other one is at Hubbard Manor West. And you can drop off your ballot there between 8:30 and 4 p.m. Monday through Saturday. If anybody wants to come to the DAC at the clerk's office and drop off their ballot, we have some extended hours now on Tuesday and Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. Those are our extended times. The clerk's office will be open beginning Friday, October 16th, on the 3 Fridays before Election Day. And also on Saturday, we are extending our hours from 8 o'clock until 2 p.m. on October 17th and 24th. And then the last Saturday, we're open 7 to 3 before the election. That's October 31st. We'll be open from 7 until 3. And finally, the last day we're open late is the day before the election, Monday, from 5 to 7 p.m.
So if I were to mail it in, what would you say would be best recommendation, the latest I could possibly put that thing in the mail?
Yeah, we've been telling people now October 15th, October 16th, right around that time, just to be sure. We are allowed to mail out the ballots a week after that, but we're still telling people that it's probably better to receive, when we get them back, if you don't mail them back by that date, we can't guarantee. Of course, we can't guarantee the mail anyway, but the sooner the better.
So the next big thing with the absentee ballots or the mail-in ballots, there's so many folks that are just still a little unsure of it. In the news, how things get blown out of proportion.
Right.
Just, is there a way for you to set residents at ease to know that if they do vote absentee, it is going to be safe, it's going to be counted? What can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So thank you for that question, because that is probably the number one question that we get in our office. And the answer is, we take our jobs very seriously. It's a very important position for me to be in, but my staff also takes their jobs very seriously. When we get a ballot in, we stamp it so we know exactly which date that it does come in. We check to make sure that the signature is on it. If there isn't a signature on it, we will contact you to let you know, look, you forgot to sign it. Hopefully you don't give it to us back the day before the election, because sometimes it's hard to communicate that close to the election. So that's why we tell people to always return your ballots early in case there is an issue. So we check the signatures, and then me or my staff, we compare the signatures, because some people are not sure, why do we have to sign it? Well, we compare the signatures with your signature card that we have on file with the state of Michigan. If the signatures don't match, that's a red flag for us, right? So then we have to contact you and ask you to sign it again and sign a form, send it back to us, and then we can verify the signature on it. So once we verify the signature, then we put it in a secure office. We lock it at night. No one can go in or out except for city clerk staff. So the ballots are safe, and then we don't open them up until the election day. At 7 a.m. on election day, that's when we open them, that's when we count them. Actually, we count them in this room that we're in right now. This is the absentee ballot counting room, and we're here until every single one of those ballots are counted. To speed up the process of counting your ballots at the end of the night, we have purchased 4 high-speed tabulators that'll make it go 4 to 5 times faster than we normally used to in counting our ballots. So you'll get the results a lot quicker.
That is an incredible look behind the scenes on how this works. And I think a lot of people don't understand everything that goes into it.
Yep.
The people that are fearful of this, that's just about getting them the correct knowledge about how this works.
Now, the state is also working on a site, and they haven't perfected it yet, but I think they will before November, which will allow voters to go and to know that their ballots were received. Not counted, of course, because we can't count them until the day of, but at least you can go online to michigan.gov/vote. And then in that website, there'll be a place for you to check to see if your ballot was received by your clerk. Because once we receive them in, we scan them in. So it's another way for people to know, at least, okay, I feel that I put it in the drop box, it got there. I mailed it, it got there. So that's another way for them to check.
And just all of the things you're mentioning are just incredible safety measures that are in place, and these are the things that people need to know about. More safety measures that we need to be talking about would be for folks that are going to vote on election day and go to their actual polling place. What steps is the city taking to make sure that everybody's safe?
Well, that's the number one concern for us is, of course, safety. So we've got signage out there to remind people about social distancing. We're also going to have everybody that works at the poll will have a mask and a shield, though the shields are not required. We're giving everybody a shield, so if they feel a little bit safer behind a shield, then they can wear the shield. So everybody will be wearing a mask, everybody will have a shield, everyone will have gloves, and they're not required by the state to wear the gloves, but again, for the workers, some of the workers prefer to have the gloves. And sanitizer will be provided. The booths will be 6 feet apart. Everything will have in compliance with what the state regulations are and what the state requires us to do.
Now, I noticed you did not bring your crystal ball today, but I'm asking you to just think, do you think that the lines will be longer than usual this year, or where do you think that'll be?
Yeah, we are predicting, the state is predicting that we will have longer than usual lines. Typically in the presidential elections, the last presidential election in 2016, Dearborn had about 42,000 people that voted. We're anticipating closer to 50,000 people will vote at this election. And out of those 50,000, I'm predicting about 28,000 will be absentee and about 22,000 will be at the polls. If you compare that to 4 years ago, it was closer to about 7,000 people voting absentee and 35,000 people voting at the polls. So it won't be as busy at the polls as it was 4 years ago, but it'll be a lot busier than it was this past August.
So another thing that may add to the busyness of the polls is another new law, recently passed law, is same-day registration. Tell us a little bit about that and how that is being taken care of.
Okay, so same-day registration is something that every clerk in the state of Michigan is not really happy with right now because we don't mind people voting on the same day and registering on the same day, but we thought that would have been better served to be at the Secretary of State sites rather than at the clerk's offices. So if you're voting for the first time, you can't go to the precinct. The only way you can vote for the first time is at City Hall. So when you come to City Hall, to the clerk's office on election day, we will register you to vote with proper ID, and also we will hand you the ballot. So you'll do register to vote and vote at City Hall on that day. We're hoping everybody does that before election day. Don't wait to the last day because there will be lines. In the presidential primary back in March, we had over 400 people that came to City Hall to register to vote on that day. So you can imagine what the lines look like. Now, people were smarter in August because we only had about 40 or 50 people that came into the office in August. And we don't really anticipate a lot of people because the word is starting to get out now. Don't wait till the last minute to register to vote. If you're going to register to vote, you can do it today, tomorrow. So just come to City Hall and register to vote between now and November 3rd.
You've answered everything really honestly and thoroughly. Anything you'd like to add to that?
I think that the key point is to making sure that people, if you're voting absentee, to get your ballot back as soon as you can, just to make sure that there isn't any problems with mail. And again, if you are concerned about the mail, please use our drop box. It'll be used quite extensively, I'm predicting, but we will be emptying it out almost every other hour just to make sure that it doesn't build up. The state of Michigan actually is providing us with one. That'll be probably different than the one that people normally see out there, but we'll have signs on it so there's no confusion as to which one you put your ballot in. And if you make a mistake and you put it in the other one, we're still going to get it anyway.
Right. A hardworking group of people in the clerk's office and a hardworking guy in charge. George, thank you so much. And thank you all so much for joining us. We'll catch you on the next Dearborn News.